Great to be back now with Massachusetts Senate Minority Leader Bruce Tarr. Senator Tarr, man, as we do this, the sun is out. It's May. Things are the freaking flowers are blooming. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Rick, and I hope you're doing well also.
Well, as you can tell, I'm not a fan of the green stuff, but whatever. Yeah.
Well, it's true. I mean, the sun is out, the temperatures are warming. Something that's significant is we actually got some rain, which we desperately needed this past week. And so that's really good. And also, we're moving in the right direction with regard to COVID-19. And the pace of reopening is quickening. And it seems like we are on track to sometime at this point in August be back to what we used to call normal. So I think that we're headed in a very positive direction.
One thing I noticed today was that at the local CVS site, no, not CVS, Walgreens that I went to pick up a prescription, outside there was a sign, and this is in Gloucester, there was a sign that said COVID vaccination walk-ins, welcome. And then you go inside, and down by the pharmacy, there's a dedicated window that says registration for COVID vaccine right here. So you are right, man. This thing is getting better and better and quicker and quicker.
The interesting thing, Rick, is that we're now getting to the point of trying to reach particular populations with COVID-19 vaccinations that the big super sites have not been able to reach. And that's why you're going to see a renewed emphasis on local efforts. You probably saw in the news this week that a lot of the large super sites, like the one at the Doubletree Hotel in Danvers, are going to be phased out, but there's going to be renewed emphasis on the regional collaboratives. There are 22 of them right now in Massachusetts. And the idea there is that they're closer to the population. And so if folks are homebound or have particular circumstances of limited mobility, that those clinics are probably more well suited to reach that population. And that it's really encouraging that we're at that point, that we've reached such large numbers with folks who could go to the super centers, that now we're looking at other populations. So really positive. And again, there is a application that's been filed by several communities in our region to have one of those regional clinics. We're working to get it passed. And so hopefully, as that shift occurs from the largest sites to the regional sites, we may have one at some point in our region to make it even more convenient for people that haven't gotten their vaccine yet.
You've had to work in an emergency situation for the last year and a half or so, in terms of just about everything. Now, as we approach budget season and the end of fiscal year and all that other stuff, are things beginning to normalize? Because you also have to take what we did for an emergency situation and then expand that and look forward to the next year or so. So what's happening?
So with regard to the legislature, Rick, we're still operating under a set of temporary emergency rules that allow remote participation by legislators. And those are rules that we've talked about before that were developed as we got deeper into the pandemic. And those are the rules that we're going to use when the Senate debates the budget. That'll be the week leading into Labor Day weekend, Memorial Day weekend. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make time go too fast. The House used similar rules when they debated their version of the budget. And so most legislators will probably still be participating remotely. Even though the State House is closed, legislators can come. Obviously, I'm in the State House right now, and limited numbers of staff can come, but the vast majority of legislators will still participate electronically. And the system has developed to such a point, Rick, that it allows for full engagement, allows for full debate. The one thing that doesn't happen are informal meetings that might happen during the consideration of a particular amendment, where a few members might gather in the Senate reading room or in another room in the Senate, in the hallway even, to try to resolve differences of opinion about something. So that kind of informal communication isn't happening, but the rest of the communication is. And I'm confident that we'll get through this budget debate very well, just as we did back in the fall when we did the current fiscal year's budget, which we were several months late on, but that's because of the pandemic. So I think we're going to be able to get through it okay, and I think everyone will be able to participate. And interestingly enough, Rick, we are now, just today, we have adopted the rules in terms of time frame for the Senate budget debate. And so we anticipate that the budget will be released by the Senate Committee on Ways and Means on Tuesday. And beginning on Tuesday, after that budget is released, members will have until Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. to draft amendments to the budget. And so that means next week is going to be, for senators, a frenzied time because you only have so much time to read the entire document. And it's a very large document. It's going to spend about $46 billion and also oftentimes has policy changes in it. So members are going to have a limited amount of time to read it and to file amendments. And we could see upwards of 1,000 amendments being filed by all the members collectively. So it's an interesting time, Rick, and a very hectic one. And we'll all be pretty much doing the same thing, which is both reading the budget and writing amendments that we would hope to pass.
You use the word frenzy, Senator, and when I think of you, I think of the word frenetic, not frenzied. So I know how busy you are. It's not frenzy, but so what else is on your agenda?
So something is happening that's very important next week as well, Rick, and it's something that's required by the Constitution. And it's a joint session of the House and the Senate, which is referred to as a constitutional convention, because it's called for the purpose of considering changes to the Massachusetts Constitution. Now, that Constitution requires that we meet by the second Wednesday in May. And so we will be meeting next Wednesday. And I don't expect that there'll be a lot of debate at this particular constitutional convention, but we do have several amendments that will at some point be considered. The one that I think most people are familiar with is the so-called millionaire's tax, which would apply a surcharge to the income of those earning more than $1 million. There are other amendments that will probably be considered as well, but I suspect that the Constitutional Convention will likely be continued so that those things will be considered over a period of time and not just in one day. But we are right now in the process between the House and the Senate of adopting orders to put things on the agenda for that Constitutional Convention. And I'm expecting that on Monday, the Senate will add 3 or 4 more items to be considered, and the House could probably do the same. I'm not positive on what the House is going to do, but we're right now setting up the construct of the Constitutional Convention, which will be convened next Wednesday, and again, will likely continue to other days past that.
Is there anything else I've missed, Senator? I think I've hit the high points here.
I think you've got them, Rick, and it's important to know that there's a lot of activity on Beacon Hill. Things are getting a little bit more back to normal, and obviously we want to continue to share information with folks and to receive information about priorities, and we hope folks will continue to do that. And with us, they can do it by sending me an email at bruce.tarr@masenate.gov, and you can reach us by phone at 617-722-1600, and we'll continue to post a lot of information on Facebook and on my blog, which is at tartalk.com.